I call this meeting to order. Let's do the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any public comment on the agenda items only?
I do. I've got some questions for the supervisors. I could.
They just gotta be on agenda items, all right, Donnie?
Yeah. Okay, and this, anybody can answer these questions if they have the answer. The bridge out at East Warren Road. How much was paid to date to Owen Beachy?
Is that an agenda item? That's not an agenda item, is it?
It's part of the question that I have. So I'll go to the question. Items were paid to Laurel Highlands in his most recent invoice of $70,629. Those same items are listed on here for payment to ETA. Those same items that are contained within Laurel Highlands contract are contained on the agenda items.
You're talking about the 41,000
We're talking about the 41,000
and the 2,000.
and the 2,000, and you also have a $30,000 motion for request for payment.
That's a first payment. That's part of the 41.
That's part of the 41.
That's going to ETA.
Yes.
Who is ETA?
We're a company that works with Laurel Highlands.
That's Jonathan and Jason Snyder.
Do they have a contract with the township?
Tonight they will.
They will.
But they don't have one today.
No.
After this meeting, they will.
It's just a one-time thing. is what it
After
is.
the meeting, they'll have a contract?
Just for this payment is all.
Okay. The payments that are on here, the payment to Owen Beachy, the $70,629.06.
Correct.
The total cost of that contract was $100,000. Was $100,000. So far, he's been paid almost 70% of it. Okay? At 70% payment for these same items that are on here that you're gonna say tonight, it's a payment to ETA. You understand what I'm saying?
We are getting reimbursed.
Right.
From Laurel
Owen-
Highlands.
Reimbursed from who?
Owen Beachy is reimbursing the township, and then the township is paying Jonathan and Jason from ETA.
So Owen Beachy is paying the township back money he already got to the township?
Yes, reimbursing
Yes.
us.
That's not reimbursing, that's paying back money that you already paid him. Why did we, as taxpayers,
What's the difference? It's the same amount of money,
Well, it's
just
just-
that,
well,
ETA and them had a falling out. And they will not accept doing with him, they'll accept it from us. So he made the offer to pay it back, and we are paying him. It's the same
Right,
deal.
Jonathan sat right there in that chair 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And at first he would accept the payment
And then he wouldn't. Then he
from,
didn't.
from Owen. And then he changed his mind and he said that he wouldn't. So, just to make everybody happy, Owen is gonna pay the township and then the township will pay ETA.
But what I'm not happy about, because I talked to our attorney in that, and I had a
He said
discussion with
nothing
him.
wrong with what we're doing.
Let me talk here, I'm.
Well, you're just gonna bring up a lot of stuff that isn't true.
What I'm bringing up is the truth. As far as what our attorney said to us, that we shouldn't really, he wouldn't consider us giving the 41,000 back to Owen Beachy. What we should do is just deduct it and take that money. We shouldn't be giving him $41,000, then him giving it back. He said that's not really a proper thing to do, and he says he's never seen anything like this. He isn't happy with how the situation went down. He's never seen the contract until today.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to understand.
But I don't understand why would we give Owen 41,000 to pay us back, so we can pay it.
We didn't give Owen 41,000.
We gave him
Yeah, but it's in
70,000.
here, we're
Yeah.
gonna give him the 41 so he can pay us
Can,
back.
can Susan, she
No,
talked
we
to the
gave him
lawyer
70.
today, can she explain what the lawyer said?
Just give me a moment here. and, let me finish my train of thought here. So the way I understand it is now he's gonna pay the money back to the township, and then ETA is gonna get it?
Yeah,
Okay,
Only because they would not accept
it's
a
not
check
costing us
directly
any
from
money.
Owen.
okay, and
Yeah, it's-
here's one of my points, bear with me. You guys paid him this kind of money for stuff that he said was half done. It wasn't half done. You paid for things that he said was completely done, they weren't completely done. For example, procurement services, bidding and procurement services, 100% he was paid. There's not a piece of concrete in the ground yet. There's no piling, there's no substructure, there's no superstructure, there's no concrete deck.
We're gonna pay
Was
your
paid
brother
100
money today,
hang on a
and
second.
he hasn't
He
done
was
anything
paid
but bought the stuff.
100%, he was paid 100% on that. East Warren Road Bridge, substructure plans, lump sum, 20 grand, half complete. Who knows that they're half complete? Who told you that those plans were half complete? And I'm not trying to be adversarial here, I'm just asking the questions. Who knows that those were half complete, those plans? Because that's how much Owen Beachy got paid for, half of this. In addition, he got paid for superstructure calculations and plans and bid documents. East Warren Road bid documents, lump sum, 100% complete. A lot of this job hasn't even been bid out yet, including the deck and other items. How could it be 100% complete? And how could you guys vote to pay that if it wasn't 100%? Who asked the questions to see, and who has the paperwork to show where this stuff was done? I think it's very important as taxpayers to make sure we don't pay people for stuff they didn't do. And this is a long way around the block to pay someone, have them come back and pay somebody else. All because we wanted to get this Owen Beachy person to do this. This isn't proper, it isn't proper. Not only that, in looking to these other things that you're going to pay tonight, that are items here contained on the agenda, you have a cost here of, that you guys are ready to pay tonight, of request a motion to accept the estimated quote from Land Services Group to conduct a construction stakeout for that project. I spoke to a very highly regarded engineer this afternoon for about an hour.
Jonathan.
Yes, and he told me,
Jonathan.
yeah, and he told me, he told me that he's doing a project now, $3,000 to $5,000 for stakeout a bridge. We're ready to sign a contract to somebody tonight for $12,000. I've been in this business for 42 years. It's unheard of to pay that much for a stakeout. Do we have other quotes? Do we have other people that, this is a quote, I understand, from these people from Wellsboro?
Yes.
From Wellsboro. Where do we get them from? I mean, none of this, to be honest with you, none of this smells right.
They've
None of
done
it.
stakeouts for other bridges,
Where at?
identical to the one that we are
You wanna
doing.
defend yourself there?
They did the
Yeah,
stakeout last
come
year.
time.
They gave us an
For 12 to
estimate of
$12,000.
6,500, but only billed us 26. They gave us an estimate at that time, I have the order back there. They gave us an estimate of 6,500, but we only got billed 2,600. So that's an estimate, it all depends on the drawings that he received today.
In addition, contained within this agreement with Mr. Beachy's, within this agreement that he has here, he has a rate of possibly $100 an hour. So that would be like 3 weeks steady worth of work for $100 an hour. It's wrong. There's no two ways around it. And here this job is, it's already the second week of August, had a contract since February of last year. Or November of last year.
Donnie, we're all fully aware of this.
Yeah, where is the schedule? Where is the schedule?
We're about 2.5 weeks behind schedule.
Where is the schedule? Nobody has a schedule.
Do we need a schedule?
Yeah, forget about
I would think for a construction project that big,
Come
yeah.
on, the engineers.
You don't have to,
And you're an engineer?
you don't have to be an engineer.
No.
we're not.
Okay.
I'm a
That's why-
supervisor.
Right.
Where is the schedule, okay?
Many of
Now,
us have worked with engineers and we know that you have to have a construction schedule.
You expect subcontractors to hold up their end and not get liquidated damages and do their jobs, but we haven't seen a schedule yet, and more importantly, you guys haven't seen one. You are the boss here. You guys haven't seen a schedule. That would be a red flag to me to say, where is the schedule? Where is it? And where are these costs going to? And I realize it's too late, but there's cost here for utility, $10,000. It's a one call. It's a one call for utilities, $10,000, unless you're relocating the utility, and then I'm sure that's gonna be an additional cost. But utilities, it's a one call. Now,
Which
here's another.
they had to relocate utilities.
Everything had to be
Everything had to be
relocated.
Yeah,
relocated.
but was it a cost of the township? Was it a cost to the township that you paid someone to do? Or did the utilities companies do that, as part of their,
Right, I don't think it was a cost, am I
It
correct
wasn't a
in
cost
saying
to
it
the
wasn't a
We did
cost
not
to us?
receive the bill, but we would have to ask the project engineer, overseer, manager of the whole project. He would be able to answer his questions.
okay, now that's another question, another thing I have, because we're still talking about items here that are on the agenda that are about to be paid for. And,
There's dates there. They won't get them until the project's done. I didn't get an invoice. I didn't get an invoice for the stakeout yet, but it's on there because this is our monthly meeting. Anticipation, 1 to 2 weeks. I'm looking at the project engineer over there,
Yeah.
that if I get an invoice, he can be paid.
I'm not sure what you're talking about right now.
The $2,000, you're talking about the two.
No, that's talking about the
invoices?
12,000.
We didn't even start that.
No, I understand that.
Okay.
That's why I say tonight you're about to give that to
No,
someone.
we're not giving that to them. We're motioning to
Approve
approving
it.
that when it's ready, it can be there. If it happens before the next meeting, these people will have an invoice they expect to be paid. Most of them are 7 days. And the two other ones, there's dates, 8/8, 8/10, and 8/24. They will not be paid till after that date. Those are the dates that they said, I will have this done, started. Jonathan has said, if it's not finished, don't send me a check. There's no invoice, it's just a motion for this month's meeting. Because otherwise, we're waiting till September 9th, I'm guessing at that.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that, but that's irrelevant, because what you're doing is you're approving that. It's just like
Well, we
paying.
gotta
But we're
know
not
the cost.
paying
We have the
it. No, we're not.
contracts.
We have to make a motion again to make the payment.
We have the
You're approving to
agreements.
accept this contract from this guy for 12 grand. You're approving that tonight.
Well, maybe we could get a thing, I don't know, you'd have to talk to the
Okay,
project engineer.
that's a couple of my things. Then you have, in here, $2,000. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me set this down a second. The total amount, based upon what I see here, in these items for discussion here on the agenda, that you're going to pay ETA, okay, who I'm understanding is doing the design work for the superstructure, and, correct?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's doing the whole thing as far as the
so
design.
he's gonna provide a stamped, sealed drawing. Okay, do we have any stamped, sealed drawings that Owen Beachy is gonna provide to the township for this bridge? Is there gonna be any of that?
Yes,
Okay, where are they? Where are they, and what part of the project, are they for, that are stamped and sealed under his licensure as a professional engineer?
Owen,
You're asking a question.
Yes, I will not be stamping the construction drawings for the foundation system.
Will you be stamping any drawings?
No.
Okay, so you're not stamping any drawings, but it says here in your contract that you are the necessary experience and licensure to serve as an engineer of record for this bridge replacement, but you're not doing any, but you're getting paid through this,
I am getting
you're getting paid through this as a PE for the project, which would lead someone to believe who doesn't get into this and look at it a little bit and figure out that you're getting paid for something someone else has done. That's what you're getting paid for. And that's, hey, if you can pull that up, which you did, that's great. But you're getting paid for something that US Bridge did and ETA is doing. That's what you're getting paid for. And I'm just here to tell you, and I told you a long time ago, I think it was wrong to get involved in this type of situation. Another issue that's relevant to what's on the agenda is, back to the schedule real quick. Since you're the engineer on the project, where is the schedule?
The schedule has been communicated to everybody in prior meetings. The last iteration was we're trying to be done by October, end of October.
That's okay to say that, but where is something on paper that shows where the start date, when the bridge is demolished, when the superstructure's in, when the deck's getting poured, when the shoring's going in, you know, when all the appurtenances are put in, when it's being paid? Where's all that stuff?
If you want me to put it in writing, I can put it in writing, but you understand, the schedule is changes.
It must change, because no one's seen it yet, so I gotta take your word that it's changed because no one's seen it. It's very important to people, to
We opened up
contractors, to have
bids
a
on the
schedule.
project in May. We were supposed to have the superstructure, the prefab bridge, shop drawings were approved within 30 days after that. We got the shop drawings for the bridge from US Bridge about a month ago. Those have been reviewed and accepted with minor comments. The GRS bridge, which ETA was supposed to be contracted with, we're supposed to do the foundation design. When it came time, they gave us drawings. They were stamped back in January of 2022. And when we started actually doing.
Which drawings was that?
these
All
drawings,
of them.
Okay, yep. Where is the, I don't wanna belabor the point, but you don't have a schedule. To this day, we don't have a schedule, and not only that,
If you give me a chance to talk point by point instead of jumping from one to another, you're interpreting the contract erroneously.
okay.
So
But I know there's no schedule, and I know for a fact, from talking to John today, that you have no idea when the drawings will be ready, or when the, that's what,
August
that's
24th.
because that's what
It
he
says it
told
right in
you.
the
That's
agenda,
because
8/24.
what he told you, they'll be done. He promised by then they'll be
Yes.
done.
Yes,
And is there an additional cost that the township people are paying for this to get this done because of this mess?
No,
There's not an additional
No.
$6,000?
no.
There's not?
no,
Okay. So in other words, the amount that's going to ETA is 49,000?
No, that's
41.
incorrect. 41.
the
41.
total is 41.
In my,
He's supposed to submit on 8/24, after 8/24, after, that's why there's a date there. He has a pay, we are to submit, the board needs to approve pay request number 1. He is requesting 30,000 for all of the work he's done up to this point. He doesn't get any more. The total is 41,000.
he told me today, 47,000
No.
plus,
He has
No.
told us
Right.
a million
47
different
plus
things.
2,000 for stakeout.
There's an agreement that he agreed to sign.
is he doing the stakeout plans?
Yes,
So that's additional
Right.
2,000?
that's on there.
Yeah.
I don't,
Right, that's an
right
additional.
above it, 2,000, that's separate than
That's
engineering, that's separate. That's from line survey. That's separate, has nothing to do with with Mr. Beachy's, agreement.
the problem is we're crossing contracts between the engineering and construction. There are two separate phases in this bridge project. My contract with the township was to get the engineering ready to bid the project out. And that terminated when the project was awarded to US Bridge. So the engineering contract actually terminated at the end of May when that work was done.
Okay, but there's a reason that this is happening right now, and I'm not gonna belabor it, but there's a reason this is happening. There's a reason you're paying back money. There's a reason for that. That's what I'm getting at, that's my
You
whole,
want the reason?
that's one of my points here.
Here's the reason why I'm
Let me
paid.
just ask you one
No,
more.
Why don't you let
no,
him
let-
Yes,
explain
let
the
him
reason,
explain.
Donnie? He never said a word the whole time you
Yeah,
were
go ahead,
talking.
go ahead.
Okay, thank you. We sat down here July 25th with Jonathan Snyder with ETA. Told him, we need you to approve those final drawings, release them for construction. For him to do that, he has to change his seal from the drawings he did back in January till July 25th. He refused to do that because he didn't want to work further with Laurel Highland Structural. He was under the impression for a year and a half that he had a contract with Bradford Township. And he did not have a contract with Bradford
Who
Township.
gave him that impression?
His son.
His son. The other engineer was sitting with me, was under impression he had a contract with the township.
Well, that's
Even
not the
though he
story
did
I
not
got.
know
Well,
that.
Go ahead.
His son knew the contract with Laurel Highlands was with the township because he sat in the meetings where that was approved. Apparently that information from his son was not translated back to his dad, and his dad made the accusation is, I don't have a contract with you, I got a contract with the township. By the way, here on July 13th, here is my contract with the township, and it was for $49,000. And I said, no, I cannot accept that because that was more than half the agreement you had with your son. We were gonna split the cost of the project 50-50. ETA and Laurel Highlands was gonna share in this project. So it was a $100,000 contract, $20,000 of that was for the professional services, the geotechnical work, and the survey work. So in essence, there was about $80,000 left over to split between the two companies. So when I saw $49,000, him and I sat down and we negotiated back to it. We were supposed to split this 50-50. In the phone conversation we had, him and I settled on the $41,000. He sent me a letter agreement for the $41,000, expected me to sign. Given he was disputing working for Laurel Highlands, said, I cannot sign this because there's some exclusions on there that absolves me of some liability aspect of it. I said, you better,
Liability aspect?
yeah, he wanted me to waive all retainages and stuff like
Do you have
that.
insurance on this project?
I have my insurance on this
How much
project.
is it?
I got $1 million general liability policy.
You have $1 million general liability on this project.
Yes.
Is this true?
Not from what, not
Yes.
by what Chris Bryan said. He says you should have never signed the contract that you have, because you only have at least 10,000 to 100,000, and that's not enough for this project.
Which-
Steve, you're
which is-
interpreting the
Which is
language
true
wrong.
here?
What's that?
Which is true? Does he
I'm-
have $1 million or does he have 10,000?
I'm going by what.
We don't do a job without $1
That's
million
right.
insurance.
And all I can say is I talked to Chris Bryan, and it's in writing, I've got it from him, that he did not think that we should have accepted the contract the way it was because of the insurance policy that Owen has.
Do you have,
limit-
do you have
errors?
errors and omissions insurance?
There's a limitation of liability clause in that contract that said anything over $10,000 or my fee. So if something went wrong, my liability coverage would be up to the contract amount. That's standard language.
But that's
engineers
not what
put in.
that says.
That's not what
That's
Owen,
not what
and
that
that's what
says.
not Chris Bryan said, that's not what he said.
That's not what it says. Do you have
Chris
errors and
Bryan
omissions insurance?
has it in ETA agreement.
Yeah, you're trying to put a
In the agreement.
liability
It's
back on
agreement.
me.
I also
I have not
He
designed
He
anything
asked
on this
it.
project.
He said
I know
he
that
asked him.
ETA has it, but Rowan doesn't have it.
ETA does not
does
have
have
that.
$1 million worth of
He
insurance.
called me today
Rowan does
and
not
gave me
have
the
it.
paperwork.
So you
I
could
have
provide
that.
it, if we wanted a certificate, if the supervisors
from
wanted one, you could
Chris
provide a
Bryan.
Why
certificate.
didn't you talk to the board about it?
If they want to see my
Instead of just-
liability insurance policy.
For this
Stab
project,
who in the back.
It's any project.
okay.
And yeah, I guess we ought to forget
Okay.
it.
As a business, I have insurance.
Okay.
The professional liability insurance aspect of it covers the stamped drawings. I did not design the foundation, and I did not design the bridge. That's ETA's responsibility. They're affixing their engineer seal to it, so they have to have the liability insurance covered.
I'm understanding.
So once he contracts with the township has the right to ask for that.
Okay, just a few other items real quick. Hydraulic and hydrostatic and hydraulic, analysis report, ENS plan, and, EP permit. Do we have those? Does the township have those? Does the township have, you paid them for it, does the township have
No,
those?
he's shaking his head yes.
No, I'm asking
You
you
could
I
guys.
don't
bid
know,
the
Donnie,
project
I'm not an
without having a
engineer.
permit.
Well, look, you guys had paid him. Do you have, that's all I'm asking, do you have it?
Okay.
Everything on the invoice, I can back up.
Is the hydraulic, survey test in there? And including the ENS plan? What you just showed me was
Give
the
me a
DEP
company
permit?
name, Owen.
Laurel Highland Structural.
Only reason I'm asking is because we're paying him for things, if you did them, fine. But
It's here.
All that
It's here.
information
The
you're
permit,
asking
it's right
for
here.
culminated in a DEP permit.
It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Once we got the permit from DEP, they acknowledged I had the ENS control plan
Zoo here.
approved, I had the hydraulics approved. Thus, they issued the permit on May 6th, I believe, 2022. By having that, we were allowed to advertise for the construction of the bridge. So all those ducks were put into order before this project was even advertised.
While she's looking at that, I just wanna state one thing, that when I talked to Chris Byam there, he said he's never seen a contract done this way, and today was the first day he's seen the contract for this bridge. And he also, I can't believe, we pay a solicitor to take care of the township here. We're not engineers, we're not people that look at contracts and make sure they're done right, that's why we have a solicitor to do that. Today was the first day he's seen that, and he wouldn't have approved it the way it was done, and.
I agree with that. Solicitors
I'm just
mark up
saying,
contracts all the time.
That had nothing to do with you, Owen, but the contract that you gave us should have went right to our solicitor, so he could have looked it over and pointed out any points that we should have changed, and it wasn't ever done, he never seen it until today.
Well, I don't dictate where it goes. I hand it
And
over to the
that-
township.
I'm not putting that on you, I'm putting it on that contract, when Jim Earl, when he signed for it, he should have, before he signed anything, should have sent it over to Chris Byam to look over and make sure that we were okay.
Why
Not
did you
disputing
do
you.
that, Steve?
Because I voted no for that, because I didn't like the contract. I voted no on that
But you're
contract.
still a supervisor, why didn't you see to it that it was
Does
done?
anybody listen to me when I tell you anything? No. You just go ahead and do what
Yeah.
you're
So, we don't wanna get in that argument.
I just-
We don't wanna get in that argument.
When my contract was offered to the township, it was tabled for almost 2 months. I presented that for the September meeting. That agreement wasn't actually approved till mid-November, the November meeting. At that time, you had a chance to shop that price around, which you did, because you had another engineer employed on the job.
We had 3 other engineers, but there was a big hurry to get that done in November, so we couldn't get the other quotes there. And actually, talking about that, Wallace was $25,000 less than you, and when I came in here for the meeting, it was already on the agenda to give it to you before we even looked at anything else. That was a done deal before I even come here, because it should have never been on the agenda, and it was.
And I take exception to Wallace's statement that that bridge was in good condition. You could use the foundation and put a new bridge on top of that.
He's not the only one, there was 3 other engineers that said that.
Let me just finish up with mine if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just finish
Yeah.
up and then you can move on.
Yeah,
One last thing here, as far as John Schneider goes, in my conversation with him, he didn't know much of anything until July 22nd. So that's a reason why maybe things are taking so long, for this to get around to where somebody can get a schedule together to give to these people. That's one thing. The other thing is, I strongly believe in what Steve just said. Next time, a lawyer needs to look at this before anybody approves it. And not only that, you should shop for three prices on everything, only because it's in the best interest of the taxpayers. Everything should be shopped, no matter what it is, it should be shopped, whether it's a phone solicitation or whether it's a public bid. That should happen. And it's just what should be done.
The problem I have with
Let me just
shopping the
finish.
price around is
Let me just
you
finish.
don't have a set scope of work for 3 people to give a price. Everybody looks at a project different. So it's up to the townships to get all their ducks in order and have a definitive scope of work for every task. You ask 3 engineers to design that bridge, you're gonna get 3 different scopes of work and 3 different associated costs.
and
That's
that
why the
should be-
township appoints an engineer from day one.
And, okay, I'm not gonna argue with that because that's, we know what that is, that's what I need to do, so to speak, that's happening. So I'm just saying, in the future, for the benefit of all the township residents and the taxpayers, please, get 3 prices. If you're unsure about something, and you guys aren't sure about something, you have plenty of resources in the township to call up and ask. It doesn't have to be an adversarial situation. Call and ask, what would you do? What do you think about this? That's why we're here. You know, do it right the first time, so all this doesn't ever happen again. And make sure where your money's going, and when somebody pays, when we're paying for something, make sure the work is done ahead of time, and it's signed, it's sealed, and it's done, and you can see where it's finished. That's all I'm saying.
I gotta say something about, you're saying Jonathan wasn't aware of this, that's cause him and his son had a falling out, and they didn't communicate. And that's where all this started.
For months,
For
for months.
and
No,
months.
Steve,
And how did you find that out?
you
Mark?
testified
How did you find
last
that out?
It
year.
took us a long time,
No,
cause
I
we
say,
haven't
how did
found
you
out from
find it out
China.
personally? How did you personally
Jason
find
was
that
on
out?
Because for
probation.
6 months, we tried to get
Did
a
I
hold
tell
of
you that?
Jason ourselves,
I'm
and he
asking-
wouldn't communicate with
Jason
us.
was not communicating with the township.
Okay.
And
Last
I
year
said,
we tried
real
and tried.
effectively, I've gotta get a contract in to the township. All the other bridge projects, like Sleepy Hollow, Langmaid, that was done under the contract with ETA. ETA was asked back in December of 2020, when we scoped for this project to go ahead, to get a contract in. It wasn't until that September, no contract from ETA was to the township. But you had to get a contract through, so my business stepped in, put the contract in front of the township, using ETA as a support. So my team was set up for the surveyor up in Wellsburg, being or not local. I have a history of working with them in the past. They provide quality and fair service at a reasonable cost. They have worked on these GRS bridges before. Nobody up here has done a GRS bridge.
I'm sorry, I must have, who'd you just say, the guys from Wellsville?
Wellsburg, the contract that did the land.
The guys that are doing this, the stakeout?
Matter of fact, the contract they had was for $6,800. They did that contract for the base map and to generate these drawings, they billed the township like $2,500. To me, that's leaving $4,000 on the table. If a surveyor is willing to do a work, he was contracted for $8,000 or $6,000, and he only billed the township for $2,000. To me, that's a stand-up person. Because realistically, he had a contract, he could have billed the full $6,000.
But now he has 12,000.
$12,000, cost not to exceed.
Yeah, but now he has 12, he did one for 2,500.
He
Why is
doesn't
this one
know-
12?
He wasn't comfortable in the scope of work because he doesn't have final drawings till today to do a stakeout plan.
And
I
it's-
told him anticipate 4 days worth of work.
It's the second week of August, and there's no final drawings. Yeah, that's another reason to hire local. Okay, I'm done, that's all I had to say. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a
Go
question.
ahead.
Oh, hey, I just wanted to ask about this, Tim's Plumbing, Heating and Cooling that is providing, services to the
What page
township.
you on there?
I don't know, page 2. So I was just curious as to why we didn't talk to any of the local plumbers to provide this service, especially those that pay township taxes.
Because they don't do it.
I guess I can answer
They
it, Susan
do
did.
do it.
You did
I
say that
spoke to
there's
two of
only one
them that
person
do.
qualified to
They
do
gave
that,
me,
so.
the city of the water authority gave me 3 names, they have to be a certified to do that. And I had a list of 3 people, 2 from Kane and 1 from New York. There's nobody local that's certified.
Who's doing them all down in the other part of town?
I got it from the water authority. That's where I got it.
And who's doing the testing of the backflow?
There's only, I think, 2 people that are doing that.
That's it, I got it
This
from
is
the
all
water
state
authority. I said,
mandated.
who can I use?
I know it is,
Actually,
but I also know that there's some, at least,
NAWSC, National Water Specialties, that's who you're supposed to call, because I called the water authority, she told me to call that number, they will give me a list in my area. And she gave me Allied Systems, Tim's Plumbing, Heating and Cooling, and Johnson's Control. They're 716, so that's New York. 814-837 are the other 2. Allied did not call me back. I didn't call Johnson's, and I called Tim. He was the only one that called me back. Allied didn't call me back.
okay, thank you.
Back to the bridge and that, Mark, and that is that you talk about the engineering and that. So right now, is there an engineer for the balance of the bridge or is there not?
Yes, the bridge will be done.
No, but as far as any type of engineering, because it sounds like, the way I understand it is that the engineer, you kicked him out or whatever, but you're
No.
reimbursing him?
No,
No,
He just doesn't wanna work for Owen anymore.
He didn't want to work for me anymore.
But now, any additional engineering, is that
Shouldn't
gonna
be
be
any
included
additional, right?
in the 41,000, or is that gonna be an add-on?
Well, that's something I wanted to ask Owen too. In the agreement there, he said that there could be, extra costs as far as overtime and everything else. I expect that you take care of those costs.
That's
You-
after
we're-
824.
So we're gonna make sure that, I wanna make sure that you pay all additional costs because of what's happened here. with
That's
this
not
bridge and
behind us,
delays.
because right now, we agreed to no redesign. He is blowing up and having an ego fit, saying he never had the proper load to design the bridge. At the same time, when we bid this contract, his engineer's stamp, signature, and date was on those contracts when we put them out to bid. To me, when you have a stamped set of drawings, to me, they should be accepted as is. And he said those are not final drawings. So to get him to affix a new date on that, he was holding us hostage as a township, saying, I'm not stamping these until you give me all the design information I need to do it.
I was here when he said that, and he needed all the references and stuff from US Bridge.
And he
that's
had
the reason
them.
he wasn't gonna do that until he had
And
all,
he got
everything
it.
he needed from US Bridge.
So-
How is that holding you hostage if he didn't have the calculations? How is that holding?
If I do not
us-
have a stamped set of drawings acknowledged by the
But
engineer,
you're
I cannot
responsible
build
for
to
that.
anything.
That's your responsibility as the engineer of record to make sure all that stuff goes hand in hand. You can't blame him if he didn't have those calculations.
But he
for
did
him-
have them.
He did have
He
them
did
done.
have them.
He had what could have been, but he didn't have the final drawings.
He did not
from US
know how to
Bridge.
interpret drawings. He's not a bridge engineer. We sat
John
down
Schneider
here,
didn't
he,
know how to interpret bridge drawings. Is that what you're telling me?
he said he was a bridge engineer, 20-some years experience.
Okay. All
And
right.
I don't have the information. Roundabout way, we gave him the load information. He came back and said, the drawings you have are no good. This bridge is have to be 10 feet wider. Making that bridge 10 feet wider goes outside the legal right of way. He said, we cannot accept a bridge that goes outside the right of way. So lo and behold, we went through 3 iterations. The bridge was wider. This here, a couple days ago, we met with his son and Jonathan. Said, if this is the load you're gonna design to, run your program and see if it works. Lo and behold, the bridge shrunk by 6 feet.
That was last night at 10:30.
That was last night at 10:30. Say, now we've got to reinvent the wheel. We've got to make the bridge 6 feet smaller, which affects every construction drawing that's been generated to date. You might just throw them in a trash can. So we made the decision is based on the plans we have right now that are 95% complete, pending an engineer's stamp, we want to work with those. And Jonathan came back and said, okay, I'll get you the stamp drawings, and that stamp drawing, you can share that with the engineer or the surveyor to do the stakeout. Surveyor was provided with that stakeout information today. They were scheduled to come up Monday to do the stakeout. So shortly after the stakeout's done, the pilings are the next thing that's gonna hit the schedule. So realistically, next week, if everything works out, we can get the stakeout done and the piling work started. Piling work shouldn't take more than a week or two. 2 weeks at the outside. Once the
Correct.
piling work's
Is
done,
that, I mean, that's you guys, Cummings.
That could be rebid, don't they, if you're going 6 foot narrower?
we're going back to the original construction drawings right here. We did a whole 360 back to the original drawings that we just had a hissy fit over for a month.
Bob?
Yeah, I got a few.
No, I mean, is that, how long do you expect,
Once you mobilize,
Within
you,
that time.
which is,
I don't have a schedule, but.
oh.
I have a couple comments about it. First, I wanna bring up this layout, this stakeout. Every job we do, we have a stakeout. I work with every local guy around here for staking out. None of them would be nowhere near $12,000. I wish you guys would ask me for a price for the stakeout, because I could have saved you a minimum $7-8 grand. So I know what it takes. We do it every day, layouts.
I'll
But
take you up on
no,
that
you
offer.
can't ask a local person for a price.
Well,
Now, having said that,
I can give you the drawing here for the
no, you
stakeout
didn't ask
plan.
me for a price, Owen, did you? Did you? Why not?
I can ask you right
I'm
now,
on
that
the
work's not
street. I
done.
pay taxes, why didn't you ask me for a price? Instead of $12,000, I can do it every day for.
Are you a licensed surveyor?
No, but I'll get one and still be around $3 grand. I'll get one. I'll get any of these guys local. No, you didn't do it because you don't want to do it from here, because you got your own buddies, that's why. Now, let me go on here. So that's just one thing.
I got
It's
buddies in
nonsense, you
Wellsboro.
guys, to hire these people from out of town when people are paying taxes right here. It's wrong. And what is the reason for it? There's gotta be a reason. Now, let me continue here. What is this request or motion to approve and authorize pay request 2 in the amount of $30,000 for ETA for the finalization of substructures calculation? So that, and I'm probably reading it wrong, but there's 41,000, 2,000, and then 30,000. So what am I getting wrong?
Nothing. Well, you didn't listen because 30,000 to
listening, all
first
right.
payment.
I'm
We've
listening,
already
all right.
talked about it, the 30,000 to first payment out of 41.
Oh, okay. Alright. Never seen anything like this, you guys. I've been in construction 45 years. Never seen nothing like this. Now, I need a schedule. Now, I got the shoring in. I couldn't get the shoring unless I bought the shoring in 20-foot pieces. They wouldn't give it to me in time. So I took the shoring in 20-foot pieces, and I'm gonna need to be paid to cut those shoring. They're at my shop now, we could not have got them in time. I ordered the shoring before I had a contract. As soon as I knew you guys awarded it, I ordered the shoring with a verbal.
I signed your check.
I couldn't have got another minute, I couldn't have got them any quicker, but I had to take them in the full pieces. So I need some kind of schedule, I need a drawing. Owen sent me a message, he wants to meet me tomorrow, that's okay. And I'm flexible next week probably to do it. So I'm there, but, the whole thing is just wrong.
We gotta take this thing step by step forward.
Well, you take a step by step.
Until we get the
You told me-
surveyor to
you
stake
told me
out.
the local guys didn't know, they could do sidewalks, but they couldn't do bridges. That's what you said in the meeting, I was sitting here. It's total nonsense and it's not true. You got
We
all
monitored the waters.
So I'm just saying. So I don't want you to
No.
stay there and tell me nonsense. You told me they could do sidewalks.
Who could do sidewalks?
You said it in this room. and
Who
I
can do
prob-
sidewalks? Did I say E&M can do
The lo-
sidewalks?
You were talking about E&M, yes, you were. You said they were okay with sidewalks, but they were not
He
bridge
didn't
people.
wanna do it. He called
Anyway.
me, he didn't wanna do it.
Yeah,
No,
E&M
he did
called
wanna
us
do
and
it.
they didn't want to.
That is not true, it's on my phone,
Not
and
true.
I have
You
it
got
on
it.
my phone too.
I talked
Susan
to
said it
Sue
wasn't
talked.
true that the E&M didn't
He
want the
called
job.
me, Steve.
I don't care what he called you, but the second day after the bids were open, I was on the road, and when I got into service again, he sent me a message saying, "I'm sorry, Steve, but it didn't look like we were gonna be able to bid on the bridge, the work we've done is, I guess we may as well forget it because you gave it to Owen Beachy."
No,
I have it on
that's
my,
not
do I
what
have
I
that on my
said.
phone? I'll just ask my wife, did I have that on my phone?
You do, but
Kinda
your phone's
funny
in
how
the
she got
truck.
a phone call saying,
Yeah.
you got anything else, Bob?
I have it on my phone.
No, I don't think so.
And you did say that, Owen, you did say that at the meeting, because Bob asked you a question about those, how you're putting those, blocks in there and stuff and building those walls. And, when he asked you that, you said, well, don't muddy the water here, you know, when he was asking how that was done, because he doesn't see it done that way. And not only that, but you did say, when we were all talking about our engineers, you did say, they're only good for sidewalks and curbs, you did say that. That was a statement you did say, there was people here that heard it, so.
All right,
It might have been-
we're moving on.
Jason sitting here, E&M has no experience with GRS bridges. You can call them up and ask them how many GRS bridges they've done in the state. 0.
So
They have no experience on this type of bridge whatsoever.
I'm gonna need that laid out so that I can make my one call.
Yeah, you're gonna meet with him tomorrow, so that's when you.
Can I have 10 grand to make the one call?
You're on the pay request.
No, can I have 10 grand to make the one call? That's what you got 10 grand to
We
make the one call.
want to get into the one call. It's not a one call.
Okay.
We had 5 utilities down there. We
I
had
do
to
it
go
on
through
every job,
adjustments.
so I know what a one call is.
We had a high pressure gas line that had to be rerouted around the project. We had a high powered Penelec line that had to be removed and relocated. We had Verizon involved. We had Atlantic Broadband was involved. But the biggest contribution was National Fuel Gas to get them to relocate their facility away from the project. That took a lot of iteration with their engineers and their permitting to get that accomplished. Because first of all, the gas line was attached to the physical bridge. So we had to get that off so we can actually construct it. Then we had to make sure the gas line was far enough away that we wouldn't dig it up as part of this project. With the understanding this bridge is gonna be bigger than what was there. So there was a lot of coordination with National Fuel Gas. It's not just pick up a one call. Anybody can do a one call. You spend $125 to have an annual membership, you put a web ticket in, they come out and mark it. But that's just one step in the process. The utility investigations is the clearances and the relocation aspect of 5 major utilities down there.
One more question. Do you guys require insurance on the project for anybody doing any work on the project? A certificate?
Oh, yeah, everybody's have insurance to work on anything.
So anybody that's on the project, you got a certificate of insurance from that person, from an underwriter?
Correct. That's part of the bonds and insurance. That's a requirement. That was in the contract bid documents for everything we put out, from the superstructure to the piling to the blocks.
So
So
did you have a minimum in there for insurance?
usually it's $1 million minimum. Township might have something special, which
So when you're on the job, supervisor, do you have $1 million yourself? You guys have that certificate for $1 million from the guy that's doing on the job?
I've never seen anything from him, and
All right.
neither did I solicit or
Does
see
anybody
anything.
know if you have one or not?
Yeah.
Because that person could get hurt on your property.
Yeah.
Can
That's
you
why
make a motion today, excuse me, can you make a motion today that the 10,000 gets increased to $1 million on this Owen Beachy?
the $10,000 was a limitation of liability. It restricts how much the township could come back on my company. it has nothing to do with the limits for errors and omission.
I think.
It's a terminology that most
I think the lawyer
solicitors
will-
strike
I
out.
think the- I think the solicitor will disagree with that, when he sees you have $10,000 worth of liability and have no.
But that's read the
errors and
second term in
omissions
there.
insurance.
That contract has been
I'm just
executed,
asking
we
you
cannot
guys-
change
You
it.
guys make a, well, you can change it with an amendment here tonight.
The township, it was for our electric company.
So what I can do is provide my certificate of insurance back to the township. I got it on my phone here, I can have it printed out this evening. The township will have
You
my
guys do what
insurance.
you want, but that's my suggestion.
Well,
All right.
but, like, going way back to what you guys said, Bob said and that, and anybody else was here, talking to the solicitor, he's never seen anything done the way it was done. And he's just, pretty much, as far as I'm concerned. he
I don't
was
appreciate you talking for a solicitor that cannot confirm what he said to
Yeah,
you.
he's not here, and she had a completely different conversation.
So I'm not having this secondhand hearsay to be reported.
I had it that he did say that you should have more than 10.
We have the emails here.
I
Yeah,
have his emails.
I know what you have, but he said he's never.
I got it in hard
he's
copy
never seen
record,
anything
you
done
got it in
this way.
hearsay.
He didn't, it's not hearsay, but he, you know what, he told me exactly that he's never had this happen. And for us to have a solicitor and not go to him and have him look over your contract to make sure that we're doing everything we can for the people of this township is wrong. And I just think that's, I'm appalled by it, because that's not how we should be doing business here. So we're here to look out.
I have
for the
worked for this
township
township for over
And he-
6 years and 5 projects. And this is the first one we're going back
You
and.
voted no on every one of them, Steve.
And I'll tell you why, for the simple reason what we're going through right now, with Owen Beachy and Jonathan there. We should never be in the middle of something between you and him, and you should have been man enough to stand up and take care of this business yourself, and not put it on to us that we gotta give money and then take money back. That is not how we should do things here. You took the contract, you should have taken care of it, and I told you that on the phone. That's not for us to be doing. And you threw us in the middle of something that we should never be into. And I think that's wrong on your part. And talking to Jonathan, I don't know, I just, you know, for a guy that
Well,
just
you're
doesn't want
defending a
anything to do with you
person
anymore.
that said he had a contract with the township, which he did not have.
You're defending the person that's changed everything he tells us every other day.
He's the guy that's
We're
in
done.
charge
We're
of the whole
moving.
bridge. He's the guy that's the main guy for this whole bridge, Jonathan, not you. He's the one that does all the specs, all the calculations, everything for this bridge.
Jonathan is a CAD drafter.
We're gonna move on. Request a
Well,
motion
now,
to
I
approve
got
the
a
minutes.
question. Now, I noticed something, we can save the taxpayers some money right here. I've known Owen, we'll say for a year and a half, I've known Bobby Cummins for 40 years. And Bob said he could save money for the township, and Owen said he'd be happy to help him. So now's the time that they embrace each other, and if Owen's willing to take Bob on and have him do the survey, he can do the survey and come right in and do the pilings right behind it. So why not save the taxpayers some money?
First of all, Bob can't do the survey and he has to hire a
Well,
surveyor.
but he said he could save the taxpayer maybe $3,000.
Just cause we're authorizing 12,000, if you guys haven't listened, that doesn't mean they're gonna bill us $12,000. They didn't the last time, right? They
They
billed,
billed 30% of the contract
Yeah.
If they
originally.
bill you 12,000 according to this motion, you're gonna pay it,
but
period.
the last time they did the
No,
same
that's
thing
what-
and he
what-
didn't pay.
am I
I get
accurate?
what you're
If they bill
saying.
you 12 grand, you're gonna pay it, right?
No, I think they'd have to justify it.
If
What
it's
the
just,
answer is?
Oh my God.
Just
Hey,
answer.
hey, here's the funny thing. I mean, if you, that's all I'm gonna say. But if you go back to your other bridge that you did here, it wasn't $100,000. It was like 25,000. But now it's 100,000. Go back and look at your other bridges you did, because we have those. You guys have them here. Was it 25 or 50,000? With the lump sum exactly like this contract I have right here.
let's
But
cherry pick a
now-
contract. That's cherry pick Browntown Bridge,
But now,
which there was no foundation design.
but
It
now
was
this,
basically a new
now
bridge
this
on
is
top.
100,000.
Whole
I'm
different,
done.
bigger
Whole
bridge.
different
I'm
scope
done.
of
That's
work.
okay, we're just talking about.
We're talking about contracts
what
that
it
are
is if
totally
you're
different.
able to do it.
Well, one thing I wanna say is, since I've been told that I say no all the time, one thing I really was adamant about is using our local people. And if we didn't take the time, we got pretty rough there in November just to go ahead and take Owen without getting other costs from other people. And yeah, maybe they might have poured the forms for the head walls and stuff. But you know what? Until we got all those 3 engineers involved and found out what the cost was, we don't know if we could have got it cheaper or not. And we could have used maybe our local people that spend their money here, raise their kids here, donate their money to, different organizations here.
It
But we
would
don't
be
do that.
okay if you had to experience
But
in
we
the
should have
township for
done
this
that.
bridge.
And why did we rush in November when you knew I was looking at other engineers, had every one of them out to that bridge, and they were all working on putting the stuff together, and yet we had to rush it through in November and take it right now. And I just think that was wrong because
How
there's
many
no
of them
rush.
engineers ever build a bridge when these guys are on like number 30?
Okay,
It's a
how-
big difference.
How many, I don't know, Bob knows more about how many people can build bridges around here than I do.
PennDOT does not build bridges like that.
I know,
Wrong.
these are unique bridges.
I might be wrong, all right? I like to
This
see-
is about the 50th or 60th bridge in Pennsylvania that's built like this. The reason they're built like this because they're about 50% of the cost of a conventional PennDOT bridge.
I said
Matter of
that.
fact, this is a federal initiative. This type of bridge that we're building was a state transportation improvement initiative to save taxpayers' dollars. I shared over a year ago, based on PennDOT cost estimate, that bridge would be over $1.5 million to construct to PennDOT standards.
You're not doing apples to apples, Owen. That's wrong for you to.
What is your contract on the Elm Street
That's wrong
Bridge?
for you to portray that to these people. in the
Tell me
street.
your contract for the Elm Street Bridge. We'll
Hang on
compare.
1 second. Are you paying prevailing wages, Owen? Or is it township?
We're
Is it
paying
township
prevailing
paying
wages
prevailing
for the contract
No.
portion.
Is it,
That's why
Township
these bridges
employees are
were
not
designed
paying
so
wage
townships
rates.
could build them.
that's where you're getting your money from. You're getting your money from prevailing wage.
We're seeing
You're
a
getting
big
your money from
savings.
You're getting your money from PennDOT overseeing it. PennDOT doesn't oversee these bridges. You're trying to tell people they.
You're wrong.
They have
PennDOT has full-time inspection on every damn project. There's a full-time inspector on any PennDOt project. That's a
Up
requirement.
here at this municipality, they have one?
Anytime you're using
I'm
state money,
talking about here.
anytime you use state money, you have to have full-time
I'm
inspection.
talking about here at East Warren Road. Is
East
there-
Warren Road,
Are we using
I am the
state
construction engineer.
So there's no PennDOT
money? Are we
inspector
getting
there,
state
right?
money on that bridge?
Yes or no? Yes or no?
There's no PennDOT inspector.
Right, exactly
I am
right.
the engineer.
Okay, so they're not on every
I am more
bridge.
qualified than an
All
inspector.
right, I'm done. I'm not gonna argue with
If
you.
you want to put my credential up against any
Here,
inspector,
Let me read something here, Owen. The proposed bridge improvements are not subject to structural adequacy review or approval from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation.
do you understand that
said they were.
statement?
I understand,
Yeah,
yeah.
we only been in business. for
Explain that
45
statement
years.
to me, Bob.
That's okay.
Structural adequacy, what's it mean?
You're not subject to the adequacy of PennDOT. It's not PennDOT.
PennDOT's money is not being used on this project.
Yeah. Structural
It
adequacy.
says nothing about money.
Structural
If
adequacy.
PennDOT money was being used on this project, you'd have to get structural
This is
adequacy.
your words, not mine. I'm just reading your thing.
Read it. There is no PennDOT structural adequacy review because there is no PennDOT money.
Not
Right.
subject to structural adequacy review or approval from PennDOT. It's not a PennDOT approved bridge. They don't do them. They don't build bridges like that. I've been building bridges for 45 years.
How did the Sleepy Hollow Bridge get built?
Alright, that's enough. Let's move on. We'll be arguing all night.
Thank you.
Okay, but we circumvented my question. Owen, would you offer Bob
We're
the
done,
the
Bob.
chance to
Let's
bring a
go.
surveyor in?
Request a
You know,
motion to approve
take
the
care of it?
minutes for the
It
regular
won't be on the
monthly
agenda
meeting
till next
held
month.
on
We
July
can't fill it.
11th and the work session, general business held on July 25th. As written and recorded. Can I have a motion for that?
I can ask you, but it has to go through a
You
meeting
want to second that or not?
to get approved.
I didn't get a second. Your vote?
That's why it's on for the agenda.
Request a motion to accept the treasurer's report for invoices totaling $194,709.99 for July 2022. Can I have a motion for that? Second, Linda. Yes, Steve?
Yes.
Yes, for me. The next monthly meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be held on Monday, September 12th, 2022 at 7 p.m. And the Board of Supervisors will meet for October, will be held on the regular scheduled day of the month, October 10th at 7 p.m. Anything with the zoning officer?
For a time period of 7/1 through 7/31, we had 11 zoning calls. Most of them were just requests for information. We had issued 6 zoning permits. We had 3 violations. 2 were pool permits. Pools were put in without permits. 1 has been corrected. 1 is still pending. There's a 3rd violation that was a misuse of land. And that person was cited. Takes about 2 weeks to get through the magistrate's office to them, so they probably don't even know they've been cited yet. And for code enforcement, we only had one complaint. We had 7 sale inspections, 1 rental inspection, and no violations.
Zoning, hearing board, anything?
Nothing.
Planning,
Nothing.
road department. They have been they worked on East Warren Bridge. They did bridge repairs on High Street Bridge, cleaned ditches on West Cordon Street, fixed a driveway pipe on Royal Ave, repaired catch basin and Club View, cut brush, mowed grass, unplugged a sewer on Fuller Road, did PA1 calls for road department and sewer department. They helped out in the sewer department and they were doing truck maintenance. You got anything for police?
Officers handled 215 calls for service, investigated 4 motor vehicle crashes, conducted 41 hours of traffic enforcement. Officers will continue to conduct aggressive driving patrols through the month of August. And I'll be put on here, we have seen an increase in criminal activity in the Custer City, Minard Run, and South Avenue area. Officers ask residents to report any suspicious activities or persons by calling McKean County 911 Center. That'll do it.
Request a motion to adopt resolution number 2022-18, officially providing a 911 address for 371 Minard Run Road as directed by McKean County GIS Coordinator in order to meet the standards of the enhanced McKean County NG 911 public safety system. The following will be the new address, 44 Clubview Drive. Can I have a motion for that?
I'll make it.
Second.
Your vote, Steve?
Aye.
Aye.
Request a motion to adopt resolution number 2022-19, approving the proposed development of a parcel of land identified as 1052 West Cordon Street, Bradford, PA, for the described sewage facilities planning module as stated and written. Can I have a motion for that?
I'll make it.
Can I ask a question? Where is that? Is it,
1052 West Gordon Street.
I know, what is that? I don't know if I remember
There's
seeing
a
it,
house there already.
seeing that going through planning?
No,
Did it go through planning?
I asked Susan about that because I wasn't sure. I guess his septic system isn't working, so now he's gotta put in 2 holding tanks that he has to have pumped.
Okay,
And so
all right.
that's what that's gonna be.
Thank you.
Is that right, Susan? Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
Are you seconding that?
yes.
Your vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Request a motion to accept the agreement with KNA Inspections LLC, the new UCC Code Enforcement Agency, owner Michael Cleveland, as per Act 45 of 1999, that is required by the state of PA as stated and written. Can I have a motion for that?
I'll make it.
Second.
Your vote, Steve?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Request a motion to accept the sales agreement confirmation with NG Resources LLC, Spark Energy LLC for 0948 kilowatts and a bunch of other stuff for the fixed rate range of 0.0948 kilowatts for township street lighting accounts. Have a motion for that?
I'll make it.
Second.
Your vote, Steve?
Aye.
Request a motion to accept the sales agreement as written from Tim's Plumbing, Heating and Cooling Incorporated for the installation of 3 testable backflow assemblies and 3 thermal expansion tanks for the quoted price of $5,188. These are for the road department, the garbage department, and township office buildings, and are required by the Bradford Water Authority. I have a motion for that.
I'll make it.
Second, that's for
Second.
your vote. Steve?
Aye.
Request a motion to accept, authorize, and sign the 10-year cable franchise agreement with Cogeco US Penn LLC, Breeze Line, formerly known as Atlantic Broadband, is written, stated, and authorized in the Township Ordinance 2012-12-02. Can I have a motion?
Susan, could you, before we vote on that, could you explain that a little bit? A lot of people don't know what that is. Do you have that in
The
front of you?
franchise fee on the cable bills that if people have service, excuse me, with Breeze Line, they charge, I'm gonna take a guess, it's $4 a month. Anybody have Breeze Line?
Yeah.
Okay, $4, $3? I don't know, I don't have Breeze Line. So we've had that since, December in 2012.
So
Just
will
10-year
taxpayers get
agreement.
charged $4 because
I don't know, I don't.
the
But it's a
township
10-year agree-
chose?
It didn't change.
Did somebody have something to say?
Yeah, I just wanna make sure I put it correctly if it goes in, that because of this, instead of, say, Verizon being the chosen internet carrier for the township, is this what this is?
No,
Okay.
no, it's the residents' cable that they get.
Cable,
Yeah,
okay.
that's for the
Cable.
cable.
That includes the internet.
Township,
Yeah.
yeah, they only.
All of it.
Not cable, we can't, it's just cable, just TV.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not.
Cable television.
We have $3, we got all through it a month.
Mm.
Okay,
So that's part of the township's
Okay.
revenue.
okay, thank
And
you.
you've had it since 2012.
Somebody wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Your vote, Steve.
Aye.
Aye.
Request a motion for authorization to distribute the rebate funds from the health insurance surplus claims to township employees by August 31st. Somebody wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Your vote, Steve?
Aye.
Request a motion to approve and sign the notice of completion and approval for the final pay request number 1 in the amount of $18,143.21 to Lycoming Supply Inc. for the East Warren Road Bridge demo project. The township received a $500 credit off the original bid amount for work done by the road crew laborers. Have a motion for that?
I'll make it.
Second.
Your vote, Steve?
Aye.
Request a motion to accept agreement number 1 as stated and written for ETA in court for construction stakeout plans for a total cost of $2,000 for the finalized completed and to be submitted by 8/10/2022 to the township and Laurel Highland Structures for the East Warren Road Bridge project.
I'll make it.
Motion.
Second.
Your vote, Steve?
Aye.
This next one, our solicitor added a line to it, so I gotta read a different motion. Request a motion to approve agreement number 2 with ETA in court for substructure calculations and plans, bidding and procurement services, construction site meetings for a total cost of $41,000 for the finalized, completed, and to be submitted by 8/24/22 to the township and Laurel Highland Structure for the East Warren Road Bridge project. Said approval is contingent on the inclusion of the additional liability and insurance provisions provided by the township solicitor. Can I have a motion for that?
I'll make it.
Well, before we do that, let's go, where's the 41,000 going right now?
No, it's not, that's the total.
That's the total, but,
Okay.
okay, are we paying anything to Owen for this, or is this just going, is this the stuff going right to Jonathan?
This is
Right
going
now.
to ETA.
That's going right to AT. So what's the 30 then down there, because we only owed him
The initial
30,000.
payment
This
is
is just the
30,000,
we're
and
just-
then he'll get 2 more increments, totaling $41,000.
Okay,
He sat right there where you're sitting and agreed,
I
remember?
know what he agreed on, but I'm just saying, what are we doing here with this 41 right now?
That's
Approving
the
his
total
agreement.
contract. That's the total contract period, he will not get more than 41,000.
Okay,
We-
okay, And that money's coming back from you, is that correct?
Right now, only 30, because he's only put a pay request in for 30.
But you're
the
gonna
total-
pay that, we're not paying you
No.
30 to pay back to us, because that
No.
was what you looked at to begin with, that we were gonna pay you money, and then you were gonna turn around and pay it back to the township. But we're not doing that now, am I correct?
We've already.
I had my
paid them.
checkbook, I was gonna cut Jonathan a check. While I was there, he refused to take my check.
Yeah.
I
He was gonna
know,
give it to him that day.
And the
I know that,
respondent said this was fine as long as we did these agreements, which we knew.
I'm
Right,
understanding
we
that,
have
but
them.
like I say, we're not paying you any more money now.
No,
No,
But you're gonna pay back, you're gonna reimburse us.
My agreement is to pay back the township $41,000 when all the work is completed by ETA.
need a motion.
I'll make it.
Second.
You vote, Steve?
Aye.
Request a motion to approve and authorize pay request number one in the amount of $2,000 to ETA in court for the finalization of the construction stakeout plans for the East Warren Road Bridge project. Payment to be sent after 8/10/22. Have a motion?
Well, didn't we do that up above? the
No,
$2,000?
no, that's different.
That was, we accepted the agreement to pay him 2,000. Now we're paying him
Well, after 8/10,
after 8/10.
after 8/10. And I have not received an invoice, and he requested 5-day payment.
Okay,
I need a motion.
second.
Your vote, Steve?
Aye.
Request a motion to approve and authorize pay request number two in the amount of $30,000 to ETA in court for the finalization of the substructure calculations and plans, bidding and procurement services, construction site meeting for the East Warren Road Bridge project. Payment to be sent after 8/24/22.
And this is after Owen pays us, and then we cut a check to ETA.
And that's what and that's what I said right from the beginning, we need his money before we pay.
And we will have it,
And that's what I wanna make sure that we do.
and we will have it.
He submitted the invoice,
Okay,
and it's dated after that,
Right.
and what he requires
Two,
is
three
5-day
low boys come
payment.
in, I own that son of a bitch, and they'll show me on the corner, and that son of a bitch would be going.
second.
Your vote?
If I knew this was going to the meeting, I'd have my checkbook. Next time I look at it, I'll have my check.
Request a motion to approve and authorize pay request number one in the amount of $44,693.48 to Bob Cummins Construction Company for stored shoring materials for the East Warren Road Bridge project. I have a motion.
I'll make it.
Second.
Your vote, Steve?
Aye.
Request a motion to accept the estimated quote from Land Service Group to conduct the construction stakeout for the East Warren Road Bridge project at a cost of no more than $12,000.
Okay, question on this. This goes back to what I was talking about. I was talking to Owen after our last little conference here, and he said he would be more than happy to, talk to Bob Cummins and see, if they could get a better price, but it might delay everything. Is there any way that we can put some different language in there? Like an estimated quote from various services or something like that, rather than like Land Services Group, specifying that. Because I do see a good compromise here, and, Bob's gonna try to get local
Oh, I didn't
people
know
to
if we
do
could
it.
change it in the middle of this.
Well,
You would have
actually,
to.
actually, this
But
is
you
something we
need
should have
to
looked
ask
at
your
before this
project
even happened, we
engineer
should have looked at
what
our
he wants
local.
to do.
Right, and this is
Our
just a
local
request for new
surveyor.
business, so we can put anything we want in
But
there. We can put Jack the Ripper Incorporated.
We could have looked at that before this and seen what we could have done with our local people and see what the cost was, but we just picked this and no.
Okay.
So
So
it goes
in
back to
this-
originally is Land Services Group did the original base mapping for the project a year and a half ago.
Okay,
So it kind of makes sense if they did the original mapping, is they come in, they have all that CAD information already. They do the construction stakeout once those plans are generated. So they take those bridge plans, overlay it on top of what they did survey-wise to generate the stakeout plan. But they could not do that until they released the foundation drawings.
okay,
So once those are released, now the surveyors can do the stakeout.
Okay, so which.
The scope of work
Mr.
is
Cummings could
open,
still go.
because we don't know if it's gonna take 2, 3, or 4 days to do this. Because they come out and do a stakeout for the piling layout, then they have to come out and do a stakeout for the foundation blocks.
Okay,
So those might happen together concurrently, or they might be separate days. So there could be as many as 4+ days, plus their office time. That's why that 12,000's in there, it's kind of cover them.
okay.
If they get done in 2 days, great, they'll charge probably about $1,500 a day.
But then the $12,000, you know,
But
being.
the big word in there you're missing, Bob, is estimated.
Estimated.
And
Estimate,
and he
right?
does use the word rough estimate.
Rough
I
estimate
didn't want to use
somewhere.
the word rough.
They have to provide an itemized detailed invoice.
Yeah,
Should-
when they get
should be
done.
compared to the
Yeah.
amount of work they do.
Yeah.
I'll see
If
that
it's not
somebody needs to be
reasonable, then we'll
watching.
question it.
they're gonna submit basically man hours and stuff like that. And if their man hours is associated with the days in the field, because when they do the stakeout, I will be there as the construction engineer. So I'll document the days that they actually work. So that's part of my job also, is to make sure is whoever's on site, I authorize that work.
We're not being overbilled that way.
No,
Right.
so if they're there 2 days and I see 2 days on invoice, that's fair compensation.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so are we gonna strike that land services group and open it up to?
You're gonna delay the bridge.
No,
No,
No.
I'm not.
we can't.
Well, I'm waiting to
We
hear
can't
from the
buy.
chairman.
I said no.
Okay.
There you go.
Motion made by.
You wanna save money, the money that you wasted for the township in your temporary easement, and you're worried about saving money. You wasted money, township taxpayers' dollars, fighting back and forth with your lawyers with the temporary easement, and you're worried about saving money.
Well, that's the Byam group there. They took, and that shows how inefficient they are. The first thing that they sent through, and you said, Bob, do you know the importance of this? And I said, no, we're just dumb farmers now. We're looking out for our
All
own
right,
rights.
Come on, it's already,
I would just-
hey, I need a motion.
Point.
Can I just make
You
one
didn't
quick
make a
note,
point.
Julia? Just 1 second. In Laurel Highlands, in your estimate of, scope for surveying work, you had 20% less than the 12,000 in your contract
I do not have any surveying in my contract whatsoever.
as an estimate.
That was based on the last project I had with them.
That's what I'm saying. As an estimate, you had 20% less than the 12,000, and I'm just using your vast experience with bridges. What it says here is, this work will be performed by Land Services Group, based on of a well-defined scope of work. It is estimated the cost of the service will be $10,000. All I'm saying is, it's now 20% more from Land Services Group in their estimate. When you estimated in your contract, it would be 10,000, now it's 12,000.
Your estimates.
They're absolutely, estimates is right.
And it might only be 4,000.
Okay, I'm just.
We're only gonna pay them for what they do. That's all we can do.
So what you're doing tonight is just allocating the money so that it can get done.
Right,
Right.
because they're gonna be here between.
Before the
meetings.
next meeting. Everything's gotta be approved.
Did you make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I don't know if I did or not.
Are you
I make a
done or
motion.
not, Steve?
I'm gonna say no, because really, we should've looked in the past
Your vote's
for our
on.
local engineers,
Your-
or
there's no-
Yes.
surveyors and stuff, and we didn't do that. So.
Request a motion to advertise to receive sealed bids for the pouring, rebar, and finishing of the concrete deck of the East Warren Road Bridge. Can I have a motion for that?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Your vote, Steve?
Aye.
We gotta open sealed bids for the limestone aggregates materials.
I only got 2. This one is addressed to me, but it doesn't say Dick. So I'm gonna open it first.
Too
I'm not
late.
sure. Could be an advertisement. You never know. It says baby, so I didn't wanna open it.
Well,
So I'm really not sure.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
I
that.
don't know. No, it's for me, but for road bonding. There you go.
So
I
you
wasn't sure. I
so you
just-
only got one then?
I got one. JM DELULIO
The Lulo.
I did send 4 out, but I only got 1. They're out of Kersey, PA. Yeah. Uh, 400 tons of 2A, 43.91.
What was it?
43.91 a ton.
Is that delivered?
I'm sorry?
Is that delivered?
Yes. Yes.
Can I ask who you called? and who you-
I sent it to Paul Baker, IA, Paper City, and that's it.
Okay.
What happened to me? What happened to me?
You didn't ask, you saw the
Oh, I
advertisement,
missed
or
it. Okay.
they
I'm
don't.
sorry. I didn't see, I didn't know you advertised.
Yeah, it was advertised
Oh, I
twice.
apologize.
Can you spell Delulo again, please?
Yeah. I appreciate
DELULLO, correct?
2 L's.
Yes, DELULLO.
The 900 ton 2B, 46.56 a ton.
Can I ask one more question? That's for limestone?
Yes.
Why are we using
Stone
limestone?
material only,
Why are we using limestone?
because that's what the
Okay,
project.
why are we using limestone? Why not PA2A? I'm not using,
PA2A here, 400
that's
tons.
limestone.
Oh.
Not 2A, not,
Is the 400 tons 2A?
2A.
2A limestone material.
Yeah, 400 tons 2A.
PennDOT 2A limestone, PennDOT 2B.
And that 2B. Yeah. Excellent.
And how much was the 900 tons?
46.56.
46.56 a ton.
all I'm saying, if it wasn't limestone, it'd be about half price. PA2A, Pennsylvania usually specs around here, they don't spec limestone. But get it for about half price, that's all I'm saying. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, the limestone is the bridge foundation, so the stone is actually the structure. So we gotta have the highest quality stone due to the toughness of it and the reactivity with the stream. That's why limestone was spec'd. It has the alkalinity it doesn't cause to the stream itself, plus the toughness is the big deal. That's why limestone was specified. We opened this bid up for conventional PA2A, and it was about $21, $22. So this bid is actually in line with what we kind of expected. It's gonna be twice as much. But that stone is actually important to this type of bridge system. It has to be that.
Okay. You're done, right, Sue?
That's all I got.
Request a motion to accept the bid from the Lulu,
DeLulo.
the Lula, the Lulu, for the amount of $43.91 for PA2A and $46.56 for PA2B. Material for the East Warren Road Bridge project. Have a
Mark, can I
motion?
just ask one question here?
Yeah.
Was there any language when they could start rolling trucks? Did we stipulate in there it was like the
It
10th?
It was in the advertisement that they need to start hauling on 8/10.
Okay.
And everybody that I talked to that wanted the bid, Bucktail, IA, and Hallbaker, I told them that already, told them right when they called.
Okay.
So they were aware, like, this is part of the bid, you have to be ready. I know Hallbaker was undecided because of the railroad. That's how he gets his stone, he was undecided, so that's probably why I didn't get a bid. I don't know, the others two, I sent it all in.
I'll make
Yes.
the motion.
All right. You second that, Steve.
I will, but I'm not happy with the price, but I will.
You vote.
Aye.
Bids received from the municipal bid website for the 2000 Dodge Charger. It was I need a request a motion to accept the bid from Mary Ellen Carcapia from Easton, PA, for the amount of $5,300 for the 2013 Dodge Charger.
I'll make it.
Steve,
Second.
your vote.
Aye. I just wanna make a comment on that. That $5,300 from that car will put the new camera system and the tracks program in the new Tahoe that the township bought, which will allow them to do all their citations and everything right in the car. They don't have to come back and do the citations. Just the same way with the 911, they don't, if they wanna run a plate, they can run a plate right from the car. They don't have to call 911 dispatch to get the information on a license plate or on a driver's license. So that $5,300 will be used for that purpose.
Public participation.
I got a couple of things, Mark. Langmaid Lane, they carved and chipped there last year. There's a couple spots out there where it looks like it's sunk. It's out past the old laundromat out there. It's pretty much in the center of the road. Then you go out, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 houses out past that. It seems like there's a hole developing in the center of the road. That's one thing. The other thing is that speed signs, there's a few out on Langmaid. You gotta go within 15 feet of the signs before you can see them.
The brush in the way.
The brush on that. And I noticed here, I guess it was in the paper around the you guys had a special meeting on the 25th of July regarding the stone, the cut stone that was pulled out of the bridge.
Correct.
And there's monies that were generated from that, it was accepted.
$2,500.50.
Whatever, that's not the point I'm trying to make. I guess the point is that I'm surprised that it wasn't brought up at our regular meeting, because when things are bid out and stuff, number one is it usually comes up at the regular meeting, not special meeting. I think that taxpayers should know what kind of money came out of that. And the other thing too is that in the minutes for meetings every month in that, we see where there's invoices paid and stuff, but we never see any money that comes in. One example is with this stone, number one, I think there should be some sort of figures shown on extraneous money that are coming in. I know that we've had a couple bridges taken out, as far as Langmaid, Sleepy Hollow, and also Browntown. There's definitely steel that came out of them, and I believe that the township took care of them as far as junking them, but we've never seen any type of reimbursement as the monies came coming back in and where it's going to the different accounts. Is it going in somebody's pocket?
Oh, come on.
But you never see anything coming back.
Well, those bridges, one of them was done while you were in. Did it go in your pocket?
That's what I'm saying, I brought this up before, nothing's ever been done. And I guess the other thing, on the motions that have been approved, I'm not a rocket scientist, but I believe Bob and Don, as far as when it comes to bridges being poured, I think it's, 28 days for maximum strength in your concrete before you can do anything with it. And it was like 3 or 4 meetings ago, I brought the question up as to when the bridge was gonna be completed. Larry Sue, you sat right there and said it was gonna be done the 19th of September. Now, the thing is, if it's 28 days and if this is gonna be approved at the next meeting, how are you gonna go ahead and have that bridge done?
It's not gonna be done by then.
You said it was gonna be done. You said it was gonna be done.
Things have changed.
Okay.
The last iteration, the bridge was supposed to be delivered per contract by September 15th. That gets the steel on site. So if everything goes smooth, it will take 2 weeks to erect the bridge. That gives us plenty of time to be ready for the September meeting to award a contract for somebody to come in, tie the rebar, pour the concrete, and finish it off. That's just one aspect of the project. The township, I would not recommend taking on. Concrete work is a specialty. I don't want to have them risk it. If they screw it up, it becomes very costly at that point in time. So that was always under the assumption that was going to be a separate bid item. So now we just gotta get that on the agenda for next September, the next meeting, to open up bids for those.
I guess one other thing, as far as when it comes down to, it'd be nice to know, let the residents know how much time the road crew has put in. You can't give me an answer now, but as far as you come up with hours that's been put in from month to month at the meetings, it'd be nice to know how much time is being put in on the bridge and stuff like that. So I think that you owe it to the residents to let them know what kind of time is going in, what's being spent there. That's all I have.
Well, I've got one thing too, as long as you talked about the stone and that. The stone was done on a Wednesday. One day we put the stone in for. I wasn't notified we were gonna even do it, so
It
that
was
was
in the
against.
newspaper,
So that was,
Steve.
let me finish here. I wasn't notified that we were gonna put that stone out to bid, and we had to make a special meeting for it, so that was against the sunshine law. And for the due diligence for as far as the township and getting the most out of that stone, you can laugh all you want, but to get the most out of that stone, more than one day should have been advertised for that stone. If you went and looked at that cut stone, and the answer I got was, it's in the way. Well, it wasn't in the way. Half of it's out Lewis Run and the other half is down by where the MBS trucking place was.
That's our staging area.
And that doesn't matter, there's plenty of room down there, I went and looked. We should have run that stone a lot longer than one day. So
That's
the
all you had
township
to do.
residents could have
That was
got
all
more
the
out of
required-
this.
The bid or the selling of material township, property is 5 days. It was advertised one time. Do you want me to get you the bid?
I'm not talking about that, I'm
No,
talking about,
It was advertised one time, 6 days before bids were opened up. Mark got a call from the project engineer and said, this is valuable property to the township, you wanna sell that. We had the meeting already scheduled for other things, sell it. He made an executive decision, you can do that, you don't have to make a motion if you're trying to get rid of something that's in the way.
I should have been notified, so that's against the sunshine law. I don't care what you say, I should have been as
It's
a
not against
supervisor,
the sunshine.
knowing what was going on, yes it is.
If you come around, you know. what's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah, I know, yeah, so. yeah.
The original
else-
So
intent
one day for
was to
that stone
dispose
is
of those
not enough
blocks.
to advertise, there's many,
Who got the stone?
what?
Who got the stone?
Who got the
Highest
stone?
bidder.
The highest bidder.
Who got the stone?
And that's his name, highest bidder?
Jimmy Irwin did, Bob did.
Thank you.
He had a chance, you
Yeah, but
had a chance
everybody-
to
it was
bid on
wasn't in
it.
advertised.
town.
It
Well,
was
I'm sorry you
advertised.
weren't in town.
I got
Well, I'm
4
sorry
phone
too,
calls,
Mark.
wait, I received 4 phone calls the day after that ad was in the paper. I was coming from, 2 people were coming from Williamsport to look at it, one was coming from Wellsboro, one was coming from somewhere down the other way. They came, they looked, they didn't submit a bid. I got 4 phone calls in one day.
The reason it
It's
was
only
rushed so
valuable
much,
if you need it.
I'm
our
sorry?
original intent was to dispose of. We were
Yes.
gonna take it up to the old brickyard pit and dispose of. And we made a decision, there is some potential value there, not knowing how much it was. Let's take the risk and put it out to bid. That's why it was either dispose of, because once
I
you
did the paper.
deconstruct that bridge, you put it on a truck, you don't wanna handle it a third time. So it was either gonna get dumped over and wasted with no profit out of it, or bid it and try to make some money out of it.
That's what I told you, you were gonna dump it, and I said, no, we need to bid this out, but we need to run it more than one day. But I didn't,
That's
wasn't
what you
even
have to
notified that
do.
we were gonna even advertise it, so, yeah.
You look at the sunglasses.
He said the truth.